And so on the active right, you have the sword, and on the passive left, you have the shield. So the sword, the spear, has turned inward and become cultured and become a bow, and the space that you had created by the shield on the left has become a resounding instrument. And that is when I really felt the difference between a down bow and an up bow. It had always been a little random for me. I did it and I knew that I had a different tone, of course. I mean, I could hear that a down bow was not the same as an up bow, but as an inner experience, as a really, truly inner, strong, meaningful experience, that did not happen until this eurythmy exercise, when I felt, aha, I know what the right is, and I know what the left is, and I know what it is that I'm working with. It's very clear when you listen to all kinds of musicians, down bows and up bows are the same thing. Imagine the second partita by Bach. Re, re, mi, fa, so forth. But just this up bow, down bow. Re, re. Imagine if it was the opposite. Re, re. Every violinist in the room will look at me and say, every violinist, it's unbearable for us. Re, re, that is an unbearable gesture because the sound is completely wrong, the tone is completely wrong. Why? Because the gesture is fundamentally, inwardly wrong. What is a down bow? Down bow are warm, they're round gestures, they're full of love. They succumb to gravity. Gravity calls them, and they surrender to gravity, but they surrender in warmth to gravity. They address the audience that is in front of you. When you're performing, you address your audience, this particular audience that you have, which is fixed in number, which is fixed in place, which will never be the same again because you will never probably get the same constellation of people in a room. So this very specific audience linked to a time and place is addressed by the down bow, in that in your gesture you speak to them. And then you could say that the violin is really not made very well, because if it was, you would not do an up bow with the right, you would do it with the left, so that the up bow was actually called up. And as the down bow goes down this way, the up bow also is called up from the heights. It's absolutely unbearable when you hear a violin piece where you have up, up, and you feel that they're pushing the up bow. This feeling of it comes from below and is dragged up is unbearable, and makes for a very stifled and asthmatic sound, and that you cannot breathe, there's no space in it. But if you think that your up bow is called from the heights, so that the tip is taken and called up there, then you have a real up bow. You have an up bow that makes a pure sound, a crystalline sound, a linear sound. So you're working with a round gesture on the right and a straight gesture on the left. You have a straight bow, but your gesture is round. You have a curved violin, and it's more than curved, it's double curved, it's triple curved. You have curves in every direction. But actually, the gesture that you have on the left is a straight gesture. And you could say that the violin stands in between these two gestures, the down bow being addressed to this temporal audience, the up bow being called into being by the audience of all the people that have previously played this piece, by the thousands of people who have already heard it, by the composer, by the style of music that it was played, by the style of music that Baroque, classical, so on and so forth, by the composer. And also you can also place the ideal of music. So you have a huge audience that stands behind you, that is the audience, that is atemporal, that is out of time and out of place, that calls the up bow into being. So you see then how the instrument, this round, resounding instrument, stands between two streams of movement, one going down, one being called up, and the eurythmist stands between two audiences, one in front of him, one behind him. The string instrument for eurythmist has been actually turned into, if you want, has been turned inward, has been turned into the chest, so that this chest area in eurythmy resounds with movement. And you can think of the upright sound post in the instrument, that without it the instrument would be flat. We would have very flat instruments if there was not this upright, movable, but this upright, invisible sound post. And in eurythmy also, you have this sound post in the heart, so that all our gestures in eurythmy are done between two centers of gravity. One is the human heart, the other is the plane at infinity. And if we can either begin a gesture from the heart and extend it outward, but then it's just not the arm that's moving, because that is a very boring gesture. It will not go very far, it will not express very much. You have to let it begin in the heart and actually ray out to the plane at infinity. And that is why we have straight limbs, because they allow the movement to ray all the way down there. Speech eurythmy expresses very much this quality of gesture, this quality of movement, in the sense that your gestures begin in the heart and they stream outward to the plane at infinity. And then tone eurythmy, actually, the gestures are born at infinity and they stream into the human heart. You're moving through two different types of space. Speech eurythmy space is in a way a concrete space. And tone eurythmy space, it's an unfolding in time. So you unfold space through time, and you move into your soul. You move into a different, much higher type of space, and that the gestures come to you and they stream into the human heart. So you see then this upright sound post with a round instrument around it, and two big streams of movement with upbows and downbows. And you see in eurythmy then this human chest, this human heart, human chest, forwards and backwards. And already just with these elements, you have so much that you could develop in a eurythmy workshop. I mean, we have hours of work to do here, just in what is a heart, what is a chest, how do you make your gestures come from the collarbone. Tone eurythmy, all your gestures have to go through the collarbone in this. You have a double curve and then the double curve, so a minor stream and a major stream, just in the collarbone, and all your gestures stream continually through this collarbone. These gestures always stream through the collarbone, and you speak that way. But if you imagine that your if you imagine that your string instrument is actually placed between two streams of movement, between a stream of movement that is above you and that goes down, forward, passive. In eurythmy, every passive movement is a forwards movement, because you actually let yourself go down, and all activity, you grip yourself and you actually go backwards. So passive, forward, down bow, active, up bow. We've reversed the relationship. All the gestures that we do moving forward archetypally are warm gestures, and all the gestures that take us back are full of light, so that we are dealing with two streams of movement, one stream of movement that is warm, one stream of movement that is filled with light. And then suddenly you can understand, okay, a eurythmy workshop with string players could develop a whole series of exercises where moving forward, moving backwards are not the same thing, and you develop a quality in how you address your up bow, your down bow, in the sense that you can let go into warmth, or you can be called into being by light. And that will give you a certainty when you're on stage that is much greater than just a mechanical gesture, or that a gesture that you bring out of yourself. But if actually you place it in the space around you, you have a certainty, you have a strength, you have a capacity to call your tone into being that is much greater. Then down bow is a huge gesture, and an up bow is another huge gesture.